All right, well, welcome everyone to Leader's Edge. Rich Lohman here to facilitate the conversation. As always, with the Leader's Edge, there's a format that and a flow that we go through in the live session. I'm going to encourage you guys to take notes, encourage you guys to come asking questions, be mentally, physically, emotionally all in on this time because I honestly believe if you don't have any other intentional growth time in your week where you get to sit quietly, you get to think, you get to listen, you get to ask questions, I believe this is the best time of the week. What I will say is, I actually seed in my growth time on an absolute everyday basis. And I think that's probably one of the things that has made the most profound impact on my growth is just the awareness that I make time to think about how I'm doing, think about what I should be doing on a daily basis, think about when I'm going to do it, and then further think into some of the results that I'm looking for. And that's more of a, I would say, a spiritual time for me. That thinking into the results. I've been walking every morning on the treadmill and working out. But when I walk on the treadmill, I listen to a specific thing. For this week, don't hate the messenger, but I get to stare out over the ocean as I'm walking on a treadmill, and I drift into thought. So that's what I wanted to, kind of, before we get into the Q&A this week, that's what I wanted to lean into. Last week, I alluded to that there's a new assessment, the inner capacity assessment. It rounds out what I say is my ideal system of trying to help somebody become fully resourced. If we can assess what is going on inside of you and where the deficits are inside of you, inside of me, that's the inner capacity assessment. If past that, we can get to a point that we can start to assess our own internal leadership skills. That's problem solving. Honestly, that's influence. I struggle with people having very low influence in their space based on whether it be their influence based on their credibility and their reputation and how much people trust them, or can you give people advice, people take your advice and apply your advice and get a better outcome. That's what I say true influence is when you're giving people advice, they take it, they apply it, and they get amazing results, and they come back to you and say, oh my gosh, thank you. I want my influence with you all to grow. And that's what my teaching time is if you follow this system, your inner capacity and your deficits will be eliminated. Your increase in skills inside of you, problem solving, influence, crucial conversations, that's going to go up and it's going to help things outside of you. Then we can get into the final assessment, which is more business knowledge, skill sets that impact each and every one of you, because it's going to start getting into business systems, sales, marketing. I would say past sales and marketing, financial abilities, because that's all crucial to the business. But that's like down the road. And those are Friday lessons that we'll talk more about. So once I'm done with teaching, we're going to get into the Q&A. I've been thinking about this, and I pre-scripted more of a conversation. I am using notes with it. I'm not embarrassed to say that. I want to do this right for you guys because I want to lay out how exactly this inner capacity assessment is supposed to work. If you've taken a good job, if you haven't, the call to action today first is you got to take it because I don't want you guessing what's wrong. I want you assessing what's wrong. And that's why I created the inner capacity assessment. What I think about is most people, they don't feel stuck because they don't know what to do. If I asked each and every one of you, when you're struggling, what do you think you need to do? You likely know what you're supposed to do. So it's not you don't know what to do. And I don't think that there's a person here, there's a person out there in the world. I really don't think that isn't capable of producing the life they want, isn't capable of producing the success that they're looking for. I don't think that. I think everybody has infinite potential. So now we've eliminated it's not what you're supposed to do and it's not your capabilities. What it is, in my experience, there's two things that fall down and fall apart is either people don't want to do what they're supposed to do, and that's a standards issue, or people don't know how to do what they're supposed to do, and that's a knowledge and skill issue. So the inner capacity is there to try to figure out, is it a standard issue? Are we struggling because there's something inside of you that, if you guys went back to the stick person lesson that was 2 weeks ago and you ended up drawing the picture, you know, from an inner capacity standpoint, I truly believe that your subconscious mind, your beliefs, your self-image, your fears is like this. You can call it a governor, you can call it a thermostat, but it's the controlling mechanism that restricts us from doing what we should be doing or developing the knowledge and skills to do what we should do. So I firmly believe that each of us is just programmed wrong to get the results that we're looking for. And that leaves us feeling stuck. When you don't know, if you don't have the standards, if you don't want to do what you're supposed to do, or if you don't know how to do what you're supposed to do, everything, this is what I firmly believe is everything starts living in our head. And if you guys don't think that you have too much going on in your head, then why do we struggle with overwhelm these days? Well, we struggle with overwhelm because everything's rattling around like 60,000 ping pong balls in our head. And what it is we end up feeling overwhelmed, scatterbrained. Like, what did I come into this app to go do? Like, you're just disoriented or constantly resetting in our life. So if any of that sounds like you, just so that I have a firm baseline, because I'm going to use the notes that you guys create to help make sure I'm providing everybody with the best experience possible. If what I've already said so far is like, you know what to do, you know you're capable of it, but you don't want to, or you don't know how, and you're scatterbrained and you're confused and you're constantly resetting, just type the words me in the chat box. I want to see who types the word me. And if it's not you, if I'm wrong with what I'm saying, you know what to do, you know how to do it, you know you do everything the way you would, then I want you to come in the Q&A right now and say, this is what my life looks like. Because I'm just guessing that there's something there, that there's a disconnect if it's not you that feels scatterbrained or disoriented or inconsistent. So drop in the chat if this sounds like you, type me. If it doesn't, I'm going to call you out when we get to Q&A and say, explain it to me. So this week, I've had a lot of conversations. It's pretty cool. I've kept a fairly
I
normal
know.
schedule. Make sure we keep our microphones muted if we don't mind, so that the recording doesn't get distracted. But I've had a lot of conversations this week, and I talked to a guy that it really stuck with me. Like if I could say it hurt me to the core, I'm going to tell you guys it hurt me to the core. It's just a client of mine, but what he said was the anxiety of failing every day has just got him tired and exhausted. He has anxiety over his business failing. And that hurts me because that tells me there's something inside of him that's not going right. And when we started talking about it, it got deeper and deeper into the story of what his anxiety was about. And they're real business systems. And it told me absolutely everything. What it told me is he's not lazy. He busts his ass in his business. So if you could relate to that, like you're not lazy and you're not unmotivated, you're willing to do all the work, but there's something that's sabotaging the results that you're looking for, then what we're likely looking at is some sort of missing standards, some sort of unusable. You don't have a plan, so there's no usable plan that helps you stay on task. And I'm going to describe at the end of this my entire system, my entire plan that works for me, because it's a standard in each of you if you can relate to, like the anxiety, the doubt, the worry, the fear, because that's just natural programming. You've been programmed to think like that instead of programming yourself to start using your imagination and knowing and having faith in and believing that something is actually coming, uh, because I know mine's coming. So this guy, we basically boiled it down to he didn't have clear standards and he didn't have a usable plan. And that's the first place we started in our coaching. For each of you, that's the first place you start to go to Coach Rich AI is when you feel anxious or you have doubt, worry, fear. You take your results from the Leader's Edge assessment or the inner capacity assessment and you use it to talk to Coach Rich AI about this is how I see myself because the assessment questions are given to you. You go have a coaching the way I have a coaching session with this guy. It wasn't about lack of motivation. It was a lack of systems that defined what good looked like to him. I'm going to say that again. It wasn't about lack of motivation. It wasn't lack of going out and doing the work every day. It was the lack of systems of what good or great was supposed to look like. He didn't have the system, and that is a system. That's not just saying, "Oh, I know what it's supposed to look like." It's no, you have a system that keeps you looking at it every day, all day. Most people, they see the light at the end of the tunnel and they think it's an oncoming train. That like because there's no system that they can look at it and say, I know that that light at the end of the tunnel is my result. It is my promised land. So it didn't have, he didn't have structure. He didn't have the skills that translated into execution. I'm going to say that again. He didn't have the skills or structure that translated into execution. So he had wishes, he had wants. And so every few days, every week or so, what he'd have to do is recommit. What I mean by recommit is he'd have to grab his goals again, and he'd be, oh yeah, I gotta start over because I sabotaged myself. In the fitness industry, it looks like the person that January 1st says I'm going to lose 25 pounds, and then they have to recommit to it about a week later because they've already sabotaged that based on how they ate, how they drank, how they slept, everything they do. It's the most blatantly obvious industry, but each of us, whether we're in fitness or not, we have this internal driving mechanism, this internal capacity. And if we don't maintain our energy, if we don't maintain our energy and we don't maintain our emotions, if we don't maintain our focus, those three words are going to, they should just pop off to you. If we don't maintain our focus, our energy, and our emotions, then our old programming is going to sabotage us and we're going to fall backwards just like those wannabe fitness weight loss people that know they sit with way too much weight on them, but they can't have their inner capacity, their standard to how they live can't keep them on track to get where they want to go. They don't have clarity to it. They forget all about what it's supposed to look like when they get there. So if you feel like you keep resetting in your life, I want you to type in the chat. I just want to see who feels like they keep resetting. Type the word reset where, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to sleep right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then a week later, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Like you're trying to use motivation, but you're not using systems. So if there's a bunch of me's, if there's a bunch of resets, this is what the inner capacity assessment starts looking like. So the distinction most people miss is motivation helps the starting point. Motivation is always going to be a good thing. It helps you start, but capacity is what's going to sustain you. Your capacity, your drive, your standards, everything about the system that's going to point to your success is what I call capacity. And it's going to help you be more successful. Capacity determines whether you actually follow through or not. And if you want to see me 20 years ago, I had zero capacity. I'm just going to call like I had no follow through on the dreams, the wishes, the goals. I was the one hit wonder and I would reset damn near every day. Why do I like that's what I've studied is my own growth and realized that my capacity grew. I got bigger on the inside than I wanted to be on the outside. I could give two shits what people think about me right now. What I want to know is what I think about myself on the inside and how proud I am that I actually have the capacity to drive me to the results. And now, like, the momentum for me is on overload. But I want to say, I want you guys to have it because I keep walking around in coaching sessions. I keep walking around just texting people, how's it going? And what I'm seeing is their energy is off. I'm seeing that people lack clarity. I'm seeing that people lack human connection. And I'm seeing that people lack confidence. If any one of those is in a lack state in any one of us, we have to fix that before we can chase our goals. You can't chase goals with a deficit inside of you. I'm going to say that again. You can't chase goals with a deficit inside of you. You have that deficit. You've got to go meet yourself in that space and work on that capacity, that standard, that consistency, that discipline until it's no longer a deficit. So each of us, whether it's you don't know what you want in life, you are unhealthy in your pursuit of it, make bad decisions, and your energy is low and you're sabotaging yourself. If you don't have human connection, I'm going to tell you, without human connection, nothing of significance has ever been done alone. You've got to have people around you that are helping you, supporting you. And when we get to the leadership of this, you've got to be that person to other people. That's how I developed the inner capacity assessment is I was going out trying to help people because I felt whole and right. And I just kept hearing about the pain. And ultimately, you have to trust yourself. You have to have self-confidence, self-trust, self-worth. If you don't have that, it's not going to be there. Today, I only want to focus on your energy. Your energy. Your energy is either going to be dictated by your old patterns and beliefs or your imagination. One of two places. You have imagination, every one of you does. Whether it's developed or not, I'm sorry. I don't know, but that's what we're here for. But it's either going to be your memories will keep you locked back into your old stinking thinking, and it's going to continue causing the actions and behaviors that are going to generate the old results, or you're going to start using your imagination. And every day with system, with standard, you're going to look at where you're going. You're going to figure out this is who I'm going to be. Some of you, you have to become the business owner. Some of you, you have to become the leader that increases the standards of others around you. Some of you, you have to figure out your own standard because it's getting in your way, slowing you down, or all but stopping you. So here's what I want the inner capacity to look like. I'm going to wrap it up by saying, we understand the stories, we understand the anxiety, the doubts, the worries, the fears. I want everyone that hasn't taken the inner capacity assessment to write down in their notes right now, take the inner capacity assessment. It is in the online portal. If you don't know how to access the online portal, I will get you the access point, but you take the inner capacity assessment because now you're no longer guessing, you're assessing what's off in me, where am I off? And I would say put a reminder in your phone to take it once a month. Get 6 months down the road and see if you can eliminate all the needs that are there. Because if there's unmet needs in you, you can't chase your goals. So I'm playing a long game with you guys. Get 6 months in and see if you can score. I've had one person in over 100 assessments already that scored in the 240 to 250 range. 250 is the highest possible score. I've seen people score in the 120s, the 150s, the 170s. I've seen people score in the 200s, but only one person that I can look at and say, that person's healthy. That person's chasing goals. That person's living their best life because all of the unmet needs that many of us have, that person doesn't have. They have met all their internal capacity needs. All their standards are locked in. Now it's all about knowledge and skill and chasing their best life, chasing their goals and dreams. So the inner capacity was generated not to label people, not to judge people, but really just to identify gaps. I'm going to have you guys do a exercise based on mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. I've done this exercise repeatedly. I want you guys to do it. And by the way, I'm not talking religion when I talk spiritual. I'm just talking your connection to the highest possible source that you believe in. That is going to be your spiritual center, whether it's just source, whether it's spirit, or whether in my case, it's God. But God created the universe. God created man in his image. I'm a creative being, and I can go create anything I want in life. So now my spirituality is how connected am I to God giving me ideas? You guys have no idea how many ideas I've generated on that treadmill this week that I'm like, have to jump off the treadmill, document the damn idea, get back on the treadmill and say, God, give me more ideas because I got this big goal. You guys already know it. I'm going after 1.2 million, best-selling author, highly sought after, 5-figure per event speaker. I know everything I want to create in my life. I want you guys to have that same thing: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. Because when you're locked in, your energy is on point. When your energy is on point, you become more clear on what you want to accomplish. When you're more clear, you know who to connect with to get the help. When you're more connected, more clear, and have the right energy, your confidence goes through the roof. Now you've gone through the entire scale of the inner assessment and said, I'm ready to chase goals. So here's your homework assignment. Finish the assessment if you haven't done the assessment. After you've done the assessment, I want you to work on one sheet of paper. What I want you to do is write out a detailed description based on any answer. You guys get the results. You get the results to the inner capacity assessment within 24 hours. If you don't see the results after a 24-hour period, send Rich a message that says, I don't see my results. I'll copy and paste them right to you because I have them. But anything that you answered neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree is sabotaging you. Now, the questions are preceded to figure out where you're off mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. So just look at where you answered the question: neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. And what I want you to do is write out a detailed description of how those answers relate to holding you back. What in your environment is holding you back mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually? That's assignment number 2. Finish the inner capacity. Do the second assignment, which you describe basically where you're at mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and use the assessment to help you because it's going to say, I eat food that supports me. And if you said, I strongly disagree, then write down all the damn food that you're eating that's not supporting your energy. Like, just be honest with yourself. It's a you and you conversation. It's a me and me conversation. But every thought that you have that's not supporting your inner capacity and standard, I'm not good enough, or my mind starts wandering and I'm paying attention. Nobody's got any flipping business. I'm sorry, you guys can argue with me all you want. Nobody's got any business paying attention to our government because it is not going to help you achieve your goals. You have no business on social media paying attention to what the hell is going on in any part of the world because it's not going to support your goals. Get off it. You want the leader's edge. You want to be locked in and have your best life. Eliminate the mental distractions. Work on the emotional gaps that you have. I admit, if I had my 3x5 index card that sits behind me, if I was at home right now, I'd have one of two sides showing to you guys. I'm either increasing my peace, my passion, my drive, my energy, or I'm decreasing my rage, my anger, my frustration, and my exhaustion. Because if that anger, rage, frustration, exhaustion stays in front of me, I'm at a deficit and I can't achieve my goals. You can't get to 1.2 million being angry all the time. I want to repeat that. You can't get to your goals being angry, frustrated, doubt, worry, fear all the time. So then the next part of the assignment, flip the sheet of paper over. This should be one sheet one side, one sheet another side. Flip the sheet of paper over and mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, write exactly what you want your life to look like every day from those four energy capacities: energy as thought, energy as emotion, energy as your physical meat suit that you live in and what kind of energy you want to have and how you want to feel. Man, I feel great after sweating my ass off on the treadmill for an hour every morning. It makes me feel alive. And then how you want to feel spiritually, what kind of ideas that you want to get, how you want to be connected to God's ideas for your life. You write down what you want. What you've created is a gap sheet. One side shows you where you're at, the other side shows you where you want to be. Go plug all that information into Coach Rich AI and say, hey, Coach Rich AI, can you help me create plans to go from where I am at to where I want to be? And watch it unfold. No different than it would be if you had a coaching session with me. So you have three assignments. If you haven't taken the inner capacity, take it. If a teammate hasn't taken an inner capacity, I'd have your teammates take it. You just tell me who your teammates are. I'll help you with phase two leadership. Phase two leadership is when you guys lead others. Right now, I'm just leading you guys. But then when you have other people take it, it then allows you to help them where they are off mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And this is just the starting point. Next week, we're going to talk a whole lot about clarity, stability, structure from the inner capacity. I believe so much in it to the core. If we don't fix what's inside of us, we can't get what's outside of us, and our goals are always outside of us. I'm going to say that one more time. If we don't fix what's wrong inside of us, we can't achieve what we want outside of us. I want you guys to really think about that. And now we're going to go into Q&A. And I'm going to let you guys ask questions. Whether you want to ask questions, debate me when it comes to the chats where people said me, where people said reset. If there's anything that you want to talk about when it comes to you don't know how, you don't want to, you know, or your standards or your knowledge or skills, ask questions. This is like now I'm setting you guys up. But as always, if there's any major issues that somebody's experiencing, I would love to hear about it. Uh, I would love to see where people are. If you're really struggling with a red light, your business is failing, and it's a catastrophe. That's why the guy called me this week while I was on vacation. He's like, I'm not sure if I don't fix this right now, I'm not sure I'll be here in 6 months. Well, we fixed it. Everybody has a scorecard in their system so he can identify on a daily basis who's failing so that we can fix who's failing. So, who's got questions? Don't be shy.